Going live. Are you not in that, Jared? Thanks every time. Sorry, live people. To meet you. You two obviously know each other.
Again, mate.
Long time no see. It's an honour to be here.
Nightmare Drive on the M1. So,
I think my soul is still on the M1, to be honest.
You just chill the time now. You got your water. You got your salmon for after. Just relax, mate. Just relax.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire straight into it. I got you on your Chennai 6 all arrested. Tell me about your last. When was your? No, in fact, no. What date did you get arrested?
18th of October, 2013.
18th of October 2013.
18.
When did you land back in the UK after getting arrested?
7th of December last year.
4 years, 1 month. November, you say? October. 4 years, 2 months.
18th, we got arrested.
In India. 2013.
Got back home 7th of December last year.
Tell me about your last Maritime Security Operation.
We're coming down from...
I'm taking that's the one we all Pete Chong. You haven't done one since, have you?
No, I haven't. I don't think I'll be doing Maritime anytime.
I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's not funny. What?
We're supposed to go to Sri Lanka, but from Muscat, but a couple of days into it, companies decided to change plans and make us get on the Seaman-Guard Ohio. So after like 5-6 days or something, we got on the Seaman-Guard Ohio. It's a floating armory, just like the one up at the Red Sea. And we were there for a few days, and the vessel needed fuel and provisions. So all operations were ceased, weapons, etc., in the pelly boxes, locked away. I was just basically sunbathing, catching squid, you name it. I was a passenger on that vessel, basically. And, we got to the coast of India, and the vessel came, brought fuel. The seas was pretty choppy. It was a nighttime operation because the vessel itself wasn't certified to go into the port of Tuticorin. So the agent on land jacked up some food and fuel, got a vessel.
Local agent?
Yeah, local agent. And the vessel came out. How it was transported, etc., looked, if I'm going to be honest, quite dodgy. That was out of the whole 4 years, the only dodginess about it, how the fuel was transported from one vessel to the other. I was like that, this looks dodgy, I'm going to sleep. Next morning, we get an early wake-up call by the TDO.
TDO?
The Tactical Deployment Officer,
yeah.
Who was a Brit guy. And he says, we've been boarded by the Coast Guard, and he's escorting us to the port of Tuticorin. Where the vessel exactly was, whether it was in Indian waters or out Indian waters, it didn't matter anyways. It didn't matter. They would have gotten with 170 odd nautical miles if need be. But we were close enough, and the Coast Guard escorted us in. Mind, it shouldn't have taken too long. Probably about 45 minutes at the most to get to the port. It felt like a lifetime. As we neared towards...
So at this point you've been arrested?
No,
right, okay.
We've just been escorted to the Tuticorin port by the Coast Guard Nakadevi, the vessel.
The Tuticorin port's in India?
Yes, the southeast.
So you didn't really think not much to it. I thought it was a bit off, a bit dodgy, but you didn't really think...
No, why would you? The vessel itself has been, to Kerala, it's been to Tuticorin many times.
Can we go back a sec, right? Yeah. The reason I'm asking, I've never done the Maritime Security Operation. I've never done any training with it. I don't know like that. No. I know sort of an outline of the way Maritime Security Operations work. Obviously, we got Jordan Wiley on, who's he knows a lot about it. Like we got friends who do it, but just for myself to get a firm understanding of it for yourself, obviously got a lot of experience in it, right?
Right.
And for you actually get civilians listen to this.
So
they haven't got a clue. Maybe people get out of it.
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. civilian vessels transporting this, that, the other, through dodgy areas to get assigned armed guards. In certain circumstances, we pretty much know that off the news. People know that, right?
Yeah.
So, as part of that, obviously, the weapons on the ships, I expect you only load so many weapons as you are people, or there's a certain quota.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can only get the weapons when you're in certain areas. So you can't have weapons in UK waters, for example. When you get into a certain area, as in the open, in the high seas, then you have what you were referring to then as a floating armory, which is a smaller vessel which is responsible for dishing out weapons and other provisions.
A floating armory is a place where you can rest and recuperate between operations instead of going on land. There was plenty of rooms on that vessel that I was on to house probably about 20 odd people, give or take. There was 35 who were on the vessel. A bit too much, but needs most. And the tactical deployment officer is only in charge of the guards only. So his role is basically operations side, dishing out weapons and equipment. So
does it have a crew separate then?
It does.
Civilian crew.
Yes, civilian crew.
And then you have the security side of things.
Yes.
So the TDO manages all your
security
requirements.
Yes.
And the manning and the taskings.
Yes.
And going off and off ship.
Making sure vessel guards go from one vessel to the other.
And the crew, I'm expecting, could be all over the place, wherever. They just look after the ship, where it's supposed to be going, and liaising with local authorities.
Yeah. Obviously, when you're going on the floating army to the vessel, obviously the crew will take you on the speedboat, the rig, transport you to the vessel. You get aboard the vessel, and then they come back, and then there you go. That's their job when it's on operations. Other than that, they're just a ship crew, basically.
Yeah. So you were on the floating armory, chilling out, right? And then you were then going to, your plan was then to go to India or Sri Lanka?
Well, no. We're on a vessel from Muscat to Sri Lanka. But 2 days into that journey, the TL informed us that the company wanted us to get on the Seaman Ohio.
Which was the floating armory.
Correct. And we boarded that, and we spent probably about a couple of days.
We were just waiting then for the next tasking?
Yeah. Mm. Just in the middle of the...
Bog standard stuff. Standard stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, a few guys, the Estonians and all that, went onto other vessels. Because being the Brits, we were only designated on certain vessels. The Estonians were going on quite a lot of the Eastern European crew vessels. With obviously the language, so the majority of the crews that they were on were Ukrainian, Russian, Eastern European.
How many were on your team?
4.
All
me and 3 other guys.
Expats.
Yeah, all ex-British.
Yeah. Well, on that armory you're on, the Seaman Ohio.
Yeah.
What amenities wise? What's it like? I mean, what's it like living on there?
Cramped.
You get like a cabin.
Yeah.
Tiny little cabin. A couple of you in there.
Yeah. There was 4 of us, and our team was in one cabin basically. So it was like a little cabin with 2 bunk beds.
It's like a prison gym. Dodgy scarf.
Yeah. Basically.
And the scarf is whatever the.
Well, obviously the ship has provisions, so the chef, as good as the chef was, his food was pretty decent on that vessel. I've been on worse during maritime, but he cooked some pretty decent food. And
where is he from?
He was from India.
Oh, okay.
We just used to call him a cookie,
Yeah.
But if we caught any fish or squid, you jack that up and eat that. It was all right.
Chilling out.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I've been in the army, so I know what sleeping rough is, and but you got to take the rough with the smooth. To be honest, I didn't expect to be on the vessel that long. We shouldn't have been on that vessel because of Brit teams don't normally go on there, but unfortunately, the company wanted to save money, I suppose, and so.
So when you say you shouldn't have been on it, just so what would you? Oh, because of what? Yeah, why shouldn't you have been on there?
Well, Brit guys didn't normally go on there as such because of the vessels that they go on. They're not as frequently as the other guys, the Estonians and the Ukrainians, when they go on their vessels. We were only on the KOTC ships.
So, all right. So because of sort of the pattern of the operations, and it was very rare that you go to that because it didn't time with the yachts.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Normally you would go, say, to Sri Lanka, and then immediately you fly up to, say, Muscat, Egypt, whatever, Kuwait, and because it was the Kuwaiti shipping company, the vessels that we normally did. But we're on there, and I didn't think we'd be on there too long, but we're on there, I think, six days.
Okay.
And then we needed fuel and provisions. So we obviously, nothing to do with me. I'm a passenger. What was getting jacked up between.
I suppose at that point you're not securing anything, are you?
No. We're in the middle of the ocean. International waters. I'm just chilling, sunbathing, catching squid.
Yeah.
We're trying to, anyways. But just chilling out. Yeah. And then obviously we went and got the fuel and provisions. So we had to go closer to inland because from what
to liaise with the boat coming out.
Yeah. So we had to go to a bunkering position, and it should have been a bit further away, but
with bunkering position.
Yeah. Like if the pick a dot on the map, deep
where
water,
so
they can drop anchor. Vessel comes, gives you fuel and provisions.
And that's not supposed to be inside the Indian waters. It's supposed to be international waters.
To an extent, yeah. Practically not in their waters. But we weren't going to India. A lot of people believed we were going to India. We were never going to India. The vessel itself wasn't able to dock at that port of Tuticorin. Hence why we got an agent to jack up a fishing vessel to bring us. No, I'm not too clued up on it, but as far as I'm aware, certain vessels can only access certain ports around the world. Our vessel couldn't, or whether the owner wanted to save money because port fees is quite an expensive payout, to be honest. So, like I say, it's not my problem. I'm just a passenger, really, on that, waiting for another job. And we obviously went to sleep that night. Obviously, as I said earlier, we were getting escorted to the port of Tuticorin, but we weren't that far away. Probably should have taken about 45 minutes to an hour to get to port. And I asked why we're going so slow, and the tried to get in touch with the Coast Guard, representative on the bridge, but he wouldn't say nothing. He was kept stum. Stood there with his weapon on the bridge.
He was on your And was there a Coast Guard vessel escorting the boat?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So basically, that was just going around, escorting us, and he more or less said to the captain, "Doctor Tuticorin port."
Were they all armed? Was he armed?
He was armed. He was on the bridge with his weapon. Didn't even say a muttered any word. Because it was early morning. When you're in Port of Tuticorin, and I remember just being on the back of the boat outside, and I was looked at the reception party, and they couldn't have crammed any more people on that dock. Everyone in that dock was there.
Military?
Media,
really?
Naval,
what time was this?
Police, everyone, you name it, was on that dock waiting for us.
What time was it?
Oh, probably about 8 o'clock, something like that. I can't.
In the morning?
Yeah, in the morning. I can't, like I say, I can't really remember that far. It's vivid of my mind. I know it was in the morning.
When you seen him, was it at that point you thought something's wrong here? This is
no, not really, because we've all been in the shit once in my lifetime. But you just deal with it, and you just think, oh well, you hear about, you get people that happens in that part of the world, bribery, and stuff like that. You just think, well, okay, fair enough. Maybe a strange vessel dotted around, in international waters may to a country look suspicious. Because normally when they're off the coast, they're waiting to get called to go in port. We weren't, because we weren't going to India. So there's no need to inform them on what we're doing.
So you're speculating that could have been a reason to come out and go,
just thought, maybe we might have looked a bit suspicious to them, and they just wanted to know what we're doing.
But then a simple discussion with the Coast Guard would have fixed that.
Exactly. So you don't think at the time. Well, I personally didn't think, something's iffy here. It wasn't until we got into port and I saw the extent of the people there. And as soon as obviously the gangway was dropped, it was a free-for-all.
Was it?
We had to literally stop people coming onto that vessel because they would have capsized with that many people coming on that vessel.
Who was control? So when you got there, did the Coast Guard tell you to stay on the vessel and then?
We were told to stay on the vessel.
So they then took control of the vessel and you were just sort of moved down.
Being guards and all that, we were just told keep out of the way, and hopefully it could be just a paperwork issue. You don't know the extent of stuff, but you comply, and what they did was to comply, and they told what kind of vessel we are, that we have weapons on board. Yes, the weapons are secured, padlocked away. Only the TGO has access to them weapons, not the crew. Okay, the captain does, but he's the captain. He can, access anything. But we use them weapons. But 35 weapons, 35 people on that vessel, you can understand how someone may get a bit confused.
So there's the same number of weapons as the people on there?
Yeah. Right, okay. Two had come up with 1 million. Yeah. That's how the police have seen it. Yeah. You don't think of what's going on till they start saying, right, gives you your passports and seaman's documents, so you're handing them, and then next minute you get them back, and you're handing them back over, because different organisations were coming onto this vessel, shown the weapons, shown the paperwork. Some were just going, there's nothing to be had here. Oh, there's nothing to be had here. And they were dripping, going away. And then, obviously, Q branch, who are in Tutankhamun and main headquarters.
What branch?
Q branch. It's quite funny because that's similar to James Bond. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't copied from James Bond, to be honest. Knowing them.
What is it? What is Q branch?
It's like CID, police force.
India.
In India. And just in Tamil Nadu. No. It's not like, say, a main police force of India where they're in different states. This is solely for Tamil Nadu. And they work to the chief minister.
For that area?
Yeah. Basically, they are the chief minister's goons in a polite way. They came on, and there was a lady we called her Madame Q branch, and she was the woman who took 4 years from my life.
No way.
And if I could see her the day, I'll strangle the life out of her. I would literally strangle her.
Well,
that's how angry. But I'm not dwelling on that. What's done's done. I've got to think of the future. But what she done there could have been prevented.
What did she pick up then on it? What was
saying the weapons were illegal?
Right.
You've got different organisations.
Yeah.
The weapons are fine. The weapons are fine. They said your document, your paperwork doesn't count for nothing outside the UK. But if you're going to say the weapons are illegal, say they're all illegal. Not just 6 G3 weapons, which a month previously were in Mumbai, and then the team who was on the vessel brought them onto the Seaman Guard Ohio. We showed the paperwork.
Yeah.
Obviously, I personally didn't, but they were the weapons that they deemed were prohibited.
6 Heckler & Kochs.
Yeah, G3s. Heckler & Koch G3s. 6 out of the 35 weapons they deemed prohibited.
knowing the way. Oh, I have to be careful here. Knowing the way a lot of other parts of the world work, it just like everything. Just what keeps popping in my head is it's one of those. I'm an experience in Iraq. They pull you over, and if you're squeaky clean, it's almost like it's a slight to them, and they try and find something, and then make it up.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, and you just delay it, make it up, or like you're saying, 2 and 2 makes 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying there like there were 35 weapons, 35 people on the ship. Oh, that's a coincidence. What do I think was the possibilities that 35 people armed on a ship of different nationalities are going to go and storm India?
Well,
I don't know.
To be honest, that was in their media. Obviously, you don't see it straight away, but you hear about it, and you do see some of the papers eventually. And they were flapping that it was going to be another Mumbai attack because they came on a vessel and attacked.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
There's a nuclear power plant, and they were saying we were going to attack that, and they were saying we were going to sell weapons to fishermen. They were just creating one story after the next, and we're thinking, are you absolute imbeciles or what? We're providing security. I'm on a vessel providing security for Indian crew. Yet you're scheming that we're doing something illegal, that we're going to attack your motherland. I don't think so. Obviously, they're off their heads, man.
What was Madame Q Branch responsible for? As in, what was her role within Q Branch?
She was the head lady. Basically, she was down and she just couldn't be bothered to listen to anything she was told.
She was in charge of the ranch.
She was in charge of everything, and she just basically went, arrest them. But
it's on the same day. It's all happening.
No, we were in port. Like I say, you got all these different organisations. It took day after day. I think it was on the 4th day in port, they removed the weapons.
Right, okay.
So if these...
Just the 6?
No, all 35.
Yeah.
It took 4 days for them to remove the weapons. So if we were doing something, we could have just armed ourselves and just stormed the dock. But we didn't, because we're professionals and we don't do stupid like that. We were complying, you know. And then on day 6, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I will remember it for the rest of my life, because what happened on that evening of the 5th going into the 6th was, you know, I spoke to me, you know, my sister, my dad. They're hearing stuff on the media. You know, and my dad said to me, tell me the truth. Are you doing something illegal? I went, no. We are legitimate. I told you I'm providing security. That's my job. I'm not a mercenary like a lot of people out there thought I was. I wasn't a mercenary. I think they should Google what mercenary actually is. We're not going to that. I spoke to my mother, and it was this is the morning of the 6th where we were told you're going to hospital. They didn't say, right, we are arresting you on suspicion of blah blah blah. They went, you're going to hospital. However, you can't take your glasses if you need glasses. You can't take your wallet. You can't take your watch. You can't take your phone, cigarettes, belt. And we're like, what kind of hospital are you taking?
What was the reason for the hospital? What was the reason?
You need checkup. Right. We're like, what planet are you on? Why are you, you know, instead of just arresting one, which I would have preferred to
just being straight with you.
Just be straight. We are arresting you on suspicion of.
I suppose they were really afraid of having dramas on the boat, and it turned into
to be honest, if you had seen some of the Estonians, they would have made mincemeat of it. They would have kicked off big time, but didn't. We put our ad and fought, and I will slander that company's name. I don't care what Mr. Fagliara has to say. You can owe me my wages if need be. It's the next conversation we're going to have. But that'll never happen. We, as professionals, put our uniform on, our Advent 40 uniform, and we complied, because professionals do that. We got off the vessel that morning, the 6th day in port. So you can imagine how of a, pardon me French, gang fuck it was. People need to ring families.
Yeah.
That phone call I made changed my life. I initially tried to ring my sister. Mind, 7:30 India, take away 4.5 hours. People are in bed in the UK, so people aren't going to answer the phone straight away. It went onto a voicemail. I then rung me mum. And for those who know about what happened to my family, mainly my mum, it was the last phone call I've ever had where she was in a normal state. And for the 4 years, it ate away at me. Every day, I felt guilty. I wish my sister had answered that phone and I didn't have to make that phone call to my mum, but I did, because she answered the phone. And I said, look, Mum, I don't know when I'll next speak to you, but we're getting arrested off this vessel. I love you. I'll speak soon. Immediately after I finished that conversation, my sister rung us. My words, I'm not going to quote myself because I was shaking with rage, shaking because I felt, what's going on here? The shit's going down now. I went, Lisa, get the embassy, get the government now. We need help. It's not going to plan. They're arresting me. I love you. I'll speak soon. We boarded the buses waiting for us, going to the hospital. We didn't go to the hospital at all. Went straight to the police station.
So you knew what was.
Well, we knew what was going on. They just didn't come out and say, "You're going to the hospital. You're going to the police station." Went to the police station, and it was a massive media frenzy. You can see the initial video footage online where you see guys getting off the police bus, going into the police station, and we were all crammed in this little room, and we were told, Phil, put your name and address. I didn't bother. I'm not writing nothing down. Still complying, but I'm not, because what if they used that against me?
Yeah.
I'm telling them nothing. They're asking us what's your name. I said, look at my passport. I wasn't being stupid. I wasn't being funny. I was just saying, why do you need to know my name when you have my passport and my documents? It was a long day in that police station. Hot, sweaty, no food. Probably, I think they gave her a bottle of water each. It was manic. We didn't know at the time the embassy was denied access to her. One of the company representatives and the lawyer was denied access to us. And we didn't know this at the time.
Aren't they supposed to be granted? Embassy's supposed to be granted access.
Well, apparently they were rejected.
Was there a fixer from the company there on hand? No?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
He came over to apparently do a deal.
Yeah.
With the police. We don't know this at the time.
Yeah.
But apparently there was a hefty, I think at the time it was £500,000 bribery.
And
the company went, no.
500,000.
Why should I pay bribery when they've done nothing wrong?
Yeah.
Problem is, in them parts of the world, you have to pay the price.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a shame he didn't pay cash. I paid for 4 years of my life.
Right.
But you don't know this at the time.
Right.
You don't know this at the time. You know, you're in a cramped, sweaty, horrible third world police station and your arse is going like that and you're thinking, everyone's seen these programs banged up, Brits Abroad. I have. Didn't think I would be starring in one personally. You know, but you think, I'll comply, but I'm not going to leave myself open. You know, well, in that police station all day.
Were they questioning you?
No.
Just sitting and waiting.
sitting waiting, then you would get up and it would be the usual crap. I'm not signing that. Can't even understand it. Sign this.
Indian paperwork.
Yeah. Sign this and we'll ruin your life. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I'm not signing nothing.
No interpreters, no translators, nothing.
Where was our beloved agent?
Yeah.
He was on the vessel. There's video footage of that. Smiling. You think, you don't see it at the time, but when you look at the video footage where they're counting the weapons and ammunition, you see him joking and smiling with a Q branch. And you're thinking, is he collaborating? So he just set us up.
The agent's the same as the fixer, isn't it? I mean, they're there. They're
there to fix things.
For people who don't understand, like the civilian population or people who get out who worry about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fixer and an agent, they're there to try and make sure everything goes smoothly for the company or the organisation. And they pull out all the stops. That's what it's supposed to do. You liaise with the local authorities, liaise with the, in your case, the Coast Guard, the police. If there's an issue like a casualty or anything like that, liaise with hospitals, liaise with the flipping ports, port authority, all that. And if it's a drama, then they pull out stops to fix it.
True.
And your man's on the boat smiling.
He wasn't fixing anything for us.
And the thing is, fixers usually get paid quite well from the company.
Oh yeah.
And they take all the backhanders as well.
Yeah.
I can't quote it, but I'm pretty sure they said the company gave him $40,000 for the fuel and provisions. Didn't even spend that. I think he spent about 17 or 20. You know what I mean? So clearly he's paid the police for a green ticket out of prison, because you'd think he's part of the company. He should be on the charge sheet. It wasn't. It was 35 men, including Indians. They were the crew, and the owners of the company. Like, they were going to come from America.
So they placed under arrest then.
Yeah.
The whole crew, including the guards. So you, the Indian crew, and then the owners of Adam Fort.
Yeah, but everyone had entering Indian waters and weapons, apart from the crew. They didn't have the weapons, I believe, on their charges. The captain and his officers. I think they had the bunkering charges, illegal bunkering as they referred it to. But more or less everyone. Yeah. There was 25 guards on that vessel, but 35 people. So 25 people should have had the weapons of charges. But everyone more or less did. Because, like, say, 35 guys, 35 weapons, man a weapon. That's how they work things out. But, you know, you're in that police station all day, and you're screaming and Tamil, and it was getting late in the day. Like, we had no watches on. What time is it? Looking for a clock. Is that actually working? And we'll be asking them, what's the time? And it got to like 6 o'clock, something around that time. And we heard Madame Kuban screaming, basically getting them, hurry up. We didn't know what was happening, but it was get back on the bus. And it was a quick drive to the court, where the court closed at 6, so we were late. So therefore, legally, we should have been taken back to that vessel. Under charge, but under police security.
Just stay on the vessel overnight.
Stay in that vessel overnight. But no, that's not what happened. We went around the back of the courtroom. Some guy came out, waffled some crap in Tamil. We got back on that bus and we went to prison. The first ever prison. And
no explanation, nothing on the bus gone.
No. Blank bit of paper, sign this. Not signing that. But they were just pulled over on the way to the prison. Obviously, we didn't know where we're going. Sign this. In 3 days, you'll go back to vessel. Everything will be fine. So, you're sat in the middle of nowhere, pitch black, on a bus, and you're getting a blank A4 piece of paper shoved in your face. Sign this. Well, obviously, I didn't sign my own signature.
Don't blame me.
Done a squiggle. But we all did it because it was either sit there and get all angry or just comply. You know, remember, we're professionals, we comply. So we all signed this. We didn't go about the vessel. We went to Palmcourty prison. And it was about 11:30 or something time we got there. Or a little bit beforehand. And it was built by the Brits. So slave labour went into that prison and they were smiling, looking at when they found out Brit guys were coming into that prison.
Built by the Brits?
Well, the prison was that old. It was built when we used to rule India back in the day.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
So they're like, you know, shoes on the other foot now.
Yeah.
And you're looking at this prison on the outside and you think, shit's real now.
Yeah, did it start sinking in? Did you start really like something's major wrong here?
Is this going to be the prison?
Yeah.
How long am I going to be here for?
How big was it?
Massive. Didn't see the extent of the whole prison itself. We were chucked in this small little room with a hole in the floor as a toilet and like a mini swimming pool kind of thing where you could wash. And we were given a bottle of drinking water and was blankets, 2 blankets, lie on the floor. So you're lying on a concrete floor. And it was, I don't think many people got to sleep that night. It was quite sick feeling.
Was it what month was it? Was it hot? Was it?
Oh, it was October. Well,
was it hot? Was it? And
well, Tamil Nadu was hot.
Is it
all year
constantly?
round? Like when it's summer, I can get to like 40, 50 degree now.
Yeah.
But we're in that prison, and I think it was the second day the embassy came to visit me. So we were just thinking, you've got to help her. You know, told the embassy everything that transpired during them initial days on being in port, what we produced, what, you know, etc., and said, well, they've got our passports and all that. We don't even know what we've been charged for. You know, chucked in prison, getting told we'll go to hospital. Told the embassy this. They went back to Chennai. The other person went up to Delhi. And then another day or two.
What was their? Sorry to interrupt. What was their response? How were they viewing it, the embassy at that point?
Pretty skeptical. Obviously, because there's weapons involved. You know, they weren't just going to go, we know you're innocent, etc., etc. They were pretty apprehensive at first, I thought, but they were trying to look after our welfare.
But with the paperwork, I mean, even at that point, it's improved over the years, but even at that point, they're like the maritime security industry, that was sort of towards the start of where it started getting heavily regulated.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of treaties and standardization of paper, all the rest of it. There's a lot of it's in place anyway from international shipping industry anyway.
Yeah.
But with the advent of with having to get armed security on, that's come into it. So like you're saying there, and you had all the paperwork for the weapons. It's the same as when we worked in Iraq and that. Paperwork for the weapons, and you always have it intact because you know if you get stopped, they're going to get done. So, I mean, from that perspective, especially looking at it from UK eyes, you'd be able to see on the paper trail all's in order. Surely,
they didn't care.
So I'm on about the Indian. I'm on about from the embassy perspective. I'm on about
but they couldn't get that paperwork because the police had the paperwork. It was we gave the police, and the police just withheld evidence, saying we didn't produce it. So but we were saying, get in touch with the company, speak, find out what's going on. And I remember, and the lady from the embassy, I won't mention her name, she told us about another Brit guy who was arrested in India. Total, obviously, it was involving drugs. It took 4 years for him. You know what you said to us? Don't be surprised if it doesn't go 4 years. However, we will do our best to prevent that.
What's the reason? Is that Indian?
That's just their judicial system.
Yeah.
If you get out of it quicker, you've paid the bride price.
You told that on day 2.
Yeah. So we were told we're not staying at this prison, and all foreigners, 23 out of the 35 were foreigners, 2 Indians. So the Indian crew remained in Palamcote prison while the rest of us had to make a 14-hour bus journey to Central Prison 2, Puzzal in Chennai. And what a drive that was. Well, we got a bit of food, hard boiled jack potatoes, weren't even cooked properly, chapatis and a bit of dal, and then a litre of water for a 14-hour. We did stop now and again for the odd toilet break, but they are lunatics. They couldn't get up to that city quick enough. We were screaming at them to slow down because
the prison wagon.
Yeah, because they were going to kill if they carried on driving. No, we were never handcuffed. So there's 23 foreigners on this bus, and nearly the same amount of police officers with weapons. You don't know the state of their weapons, but I tell you what, when you've got a sleeping policeman with a SLR in your face, you just want to batter him with it. I was like, watch that weapon, man. Nearly, it was quite nerve-wracking because one bump in the road could set, because you know how hands-on they are. They're like, oh, it's a toy. Yeah. That fingers always near the trigger, and they're not very professional at all, the Indian police. But we made the journey, and obviously through the day, and we got to prison in Puzzal, and you can see on Google Maps how big it is. There's 3 different prisons. There's the women prison, there's the remand prison, which is Central Prison 2, and there's the one that I finished, like when you get sentenced, the Puzzal 1. So we were in the remand prison, which held about 1,500 people. However, there was nearly 3,000. It was cramped. We were in with Nigerians, Tamil Tigers, who were Sri Lankans. There was Syrians there, Iranians, sorry. There was a whole different group of foreigners from different countries in that compound for the 5.5 months we stayed in that prison. You would see people come, and then next day or 2 they would be gone because they paid the price. One guy, I think he was South Korean, had $50,000 on him, and we found out he had to pay a bribery, saying you can't leave this country with that money. We want. So but he got out of prison and he's gone home. He was able to pay the price. For the 5.5 months we were in there, for 3 of them months, nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Nothing from the company, lawyer. We were stuck in limbo. For 3 out of the 5.5 months in that initial prison time, before we got bail, we heard nothing. We didn't know where we were going, what was happening.
No one was speaking to you?
No one. Couldn't find out what was going on from the company. Didn't even have a visit from the lawyer.
Could you speak to your families though?
Through a letter, but I sent a letter, and I was thinking it's 2 weeks. I was told about a week to get there. Should have at least be due a reply. Went down to the jailer's office. My letter's still in his drawer. So we couldn't send any letters. We did initially get letters in. That was when the embassy came. The embassy came to visit us every 2 weeks, I believe. Every 2 weeks. They initially are only supposed to come and visit you once every 3 months. So for the embassy to come every fortnight to bring family letters for some sort of morale. And I remember like reading the initial letters from my sister, and you can tell how worried they were in them letters. And you're thinking, what is going on? You know, as you know, a month went by, this is October. It's only a couple of months to Christmas. And it's getting closer. And you're like, what's going on? What's going on? And, you know, I think one of the guys, his girlfriend and his mum and dad came to visit him, or his dad. I was really happy for him. They were able to bring some goodies in, you know, bit of morale, you know what I mean? Got some letters through his family as well, off my family. And it was good. But, yeah, thinking it's getting close to Christmas here. What's going on? And I remember the embassy coming in. And to this day, I don't know what this letter says. You know, when you look at something and words jump out. You know, I know I'm getting upset, but this is the reality. You're an innocent man. You were doing your job. You're chucked in an Indian prison. You're not hearing nothing from the company lawyer on what is going on. It's getting to Christmas 2013. The embassies came in, gave her a little bit of Christmas gifts. No, they were solely there for your welfare. And the rest of the guys were getting up to leave, and I was told to hang back. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm getting a visit. Maybe that, you know, the embassy said, oh, by the way, your sister or your dad or whatnot, or your mum's going to come and visit you. And I look back on that day, and I don't know how I done it, how I stopped that red mist from taking over and controlling me, because anyone who knows me, I can be a little hothead. I'll lose it. But then I'll think, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. As time gets on, you get older, you become a bit more controlled with your aggression. Well, I got this letter, and words just jumped out. Like I say, to this day, I'd never read that letter. I don't even know if I still got it. And it was my sister saying, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. She's all right. And 5 days before Christmas, my mum was in the hairdresser's, and she had a double aneurysm. And everyone who knows what an aneurysm is the brain just shutting off. You don't survive an aneurysm. You don't. That's the brain just going, that's it, I've had enough. You look at the survival rate, it's that. Not even a percentage. To be told, you know, look at the embassy lasses, and they don't know what to do. They just, here's a letter. Deal with it. We're shitting yourself on what's going to happen. And obviously, me tear ducts just filled up. And this is 5 days before Christmas 2013. And my mum's just had a double, not just one aneurysm, a double aneurysm. She's you know, buggered. But she's not. She's fighting for her life. Because she wants to see her son again. And someone upstairs, and I'm not a religious man, says, it's not your time yet. And she spent 4 months, my sister says, in hospital. I didn't know that all this till I came home, but the surgeon that saved my mum's life was an Indian. Of all people. Not all Indians are bad. That man saved my mum's life. But he gave my sister a very tough decision. If we operate now, your mum may die. she also may survive. If you don't operate, she's dead. Operate. So 4 months in hospital, she, still a horrible wreck. She's, had 2 strokes in the past. Her mobility's not as good. She can't use one arm. Her speech, she'll can't have a normal conversation as you and I. So I've got that phone call eaten inside of me. That's the last time I heard my mum speak properly. Mm-hmm. She can't speak properly now. She'll say the odd few words, but we can't have a normal conversation anymore. It hurts. It does hurt. But we're being home. I'm dealing with it. But leaving that jailer's office, tunnel vision set in, and I had quite a walk back to our compound, and how that I can remember people speaking, and I was just like that tunnel, battling that red mist, because I could have just killed every single person that came and contacted me. But what would that have achieved? I do mean this. If my mum didn't survive, I wouldn't be here today. I know that sounds really selfish, but that's the reality of things. I'm a mammy's boy. I would die for my mum. So she didn't. She survived because she's a fighter. She's a true fighter. Because she wanted to see me again. Little did she know she had to wait 4 years to see me again. But going back, it was so hard having to, see the guys, and one of the guys knew something was up, and we went and had a talk, and I just broke down, basically. But I dusted myself down. I thought, I've got to crack on. Just have to crack on. I've got to stay strong. My family wouldn't want me in this horrible soppy mess. Dust myself down, and go to the next day, and hopefully things can transpire. We had a bail rejected. Then said the weapons were illegal, and because we weren't initially charged with weapons. That came later. I think it was about 2 months, 2-3 months with no charge.
So initially it was just international waters?
Yeah.
Charge. Not Indian waters charge.
Well, sorry, yeah. It took about a couple of months to put charges on when we were in prison, just languishing. And after 5.5 months, we won our bail. And to get us out of that prison, a lot of stuff was put in place to make sure we weren't going to disappear. We had to sign bail twice a day. 10 o'clock in the morning, I think, and 8 o'clock at night. We did that for 3 months. So basically, we've left the prison after 5.5 months, and we're staying in the hotel. Obviously, the company can't keep that up. So I have to fend for myself, basically.
So they're keeping your passports, all that stuff.
Yeah, can't leave. Signing bail twice a day. And, but you're able to speak to your family on Skype because, I had to go and buy a tablet. So I had to basically get my bank to send us my bank card because we couldn't go back to the vessel because that was 600k away. You know what I mean? It was a long way away just to get your belongings. So fending for yourself. We were given a little bit of money, but it wasn't going to last.
Yeah, so you couldn't go to 600k because you had to sign the bail twice a day. You would never make it back. Right, got you.
And you needed a court order to get my belongings. Yeah. Like, what? Because I think the class R belongings, like equipment on the vessel. It's my personal belongings, my phone, my laptop, my clothes. So obviously, when I did, see my sister in prison, she came to visit on my birthday. That was the only time saw my sister. She came and visited us on my birthday. So in the 4 years, I saw her 3 times, all on my birthday. Because obviously, being out of prison, she's not going to come and visit us when I'm out of prison because we're trying to hopefully get home. Things is happening in court. You know,
it's not cheap either.
It's pointless. You know, so you're signing bail twice a day for 3 months, and July 2014, William Hague, who was the then Foreign Secretary, we were waiting on a decision at the High Court to get the case quashed.
Indian High Court.
Yeah, in the Madras High Court in Chennai. William Hague came over in relations to trade, but also to raise our case as well. And I think he came on the Tuesday, and we got a decision on the Thursday, and we won our case. Case quashed, but I had no charges. The captain, crew, still had bunkering.
Right.
So the waters, international, being in their territorial waters, weapons charge for me. Gone. I was a free man. So they've got 90 days to appeal.
This is 2014, mid-2014.
July 2014, we got the case quashed. I should have came home. My government, and I can only say what I went through. Other people may say the worse things. But what the government did, they let me down and the rest in 2014. We had a meeting with them, shown lawyer letters stating Indian law. During the 90-day appeal process, it is not a legal requirement for you to stay in India. So during the 90 days for the police to appeal to Supreme Court on the decision at the High Court, we should have gone home. And if it went, if it carried on and they won that, blah, blah, they would have to then get us back to the UK. Well, that wasn't going to happen. I don't think the British government would have allowed us to go back to India, knowing fine well we're innocent. The government can't turn around and say you're innocent. They know you're innocent, but they're not going to turn around in the media and say these men are innocent in case something creeps up and we were guilty of something.
They weren't 100% sure.
They weren't 100% sure, but we were shown that we were legitimate. Yeah. We showed letter lawyers, lawyer letters stating international law, etc., etc. And the government just went, well, we'll see if they appeal or not. And as the day goes by, weeks, months, it's 3 months, 90 days. And you're thinking, this is costing my family, keeping me here. Obviously, the Army Benevolent Fund, Parachute Regiment, British Legion, they did chip in. I will say thank you for them. Because if they didn't chip in, my family would be more thousands of pounds worth of debt. Just for me, keeping me head above water. I wasn't living a life of luxury. I was staying in a hostel. But when you're living there day, weeks, months, it all adds up. I've got to eat, I've got to survive. I've got to just get on with my life and hope that this nightmare is finished. But it went on, and you're thinking, what's going on? Day 90, if they didn't appeal, we would go home. Day 88, they appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court went, yeah, no problem. And you're like, it can't get any worse now. It's just, so you've now got to stay. Still a free man, so to speak, but it's now gone up to Supreme Court.
Did they still have all your passports and that
the
whole time?
I did initially get a new passport via the government. The government kind of, we did say, look, you need to demand our passports back. They belong to the government. We just use them. The government property, yeah, they wouldn't bother because it's easy for them to just write our passports off and get you to buy a new one, which we did in 2015. But You've just had a hammer blow. 2 more days and I would be coming home. Mm-hmm. And then just went, boom, peel, accepted. And you're like, oh no, man, how long more? So that goes on, expenses go up. It goes from 2014 into 2015. Okay, Christmas previously spent in a prison. This one wasn't too bad. No.
So I'm was it a back and forth appeal, then a counter appeal, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth?
Yeah, and then different court cases happening in Supreme Court. Prosecutor wouldn't turn up, so then they'll go right 2 weeks. And you're like, imagine that in the UK. Yeah. A prosecutor who are supposed to be saying, right, you're guilty, you show us. Well, no, hang on a minute. We're innocent. You show that we've done something wrong. Not the other way around, but their judicial system, they said, mirrors UK's. I went, yeah, from about 100 years ago. Because imagine nowadays, a prosecutor in the UK doesn't turn up. If he doesn't turn up, the judge is going to just, that's it. You know, you're not sitting. The prosecution's not even turning up.
And certainly make the case week.
That's it. It's over. But they just went, oh well, 2 weeks, or maybe in 2 weeks' time he'll come up. And then a judge would not turn up, or you know, and you're thinking, and you're hearing this, and obviously this is battling in New Delhi, and we're in Chennai in the southeast of India, and you're like, what's going on here? What's going on? And you're in communication with your family via Skype. My dad must have been sick of me. I must have rung him about 10 million times a day because I couldn't speak to my mum. She can't just pick up the phone now. And obviously my sister Lisa working for police headquarters doing shift work. So like she would go to my mum's after work after a 12-hour shift, and then we would Skype. It'd be like the early hours, you know, in India, and it was hard because you know you're tired, you're frustrated, and you know they're campaigning down in London, you know, raising awareness.
That's how I became aware of it. Is that I don't remember seeing it on the news when it first started. And then at that time when we were out of Iraq, but then when that massive I think your sister started it. I'm guessing that massive social media drive to get people to pay attention. Who's the other lady?
It was Yvonne McHugh. That was Billy's wife.
So they were massive.
Yeah.
So you got the 20 centimeter back and forth, and then what happened in the end? Then to change things for you to be able to get out.
Well, as you know, times go on, you're thinking, well, like you've had a taste of prison, you've had a taste of freedom. You should have gone home. And then you have a trial and you get sentenced to 5 years. And I had to make that phone call back to my family. You know, you got all the media.
When was that?
We had a trial back in 2016, 2015. It lasted 4 months.
Jesus Christ.
So, you know, you're battling in Supreme Court. And then the day of the races were kind of ambushed because the Estonians and pardon me French, decided in their fucking wisdom to get a different lawyer to the lawyer that we had and just snowball it. Basically give the judge the ammunition that he deserved, because we're saying we're doing one thing, the police are saying another, and then he completely just says something else. Well, I'm just here to get these home. Well, the judge has asked one question only. What was the vessel doing there for? If he just said the vessel was here for fuel and provisions, that would have been it. We would have gone home. It would have ended there. But he went, I don't know why that vessel's here.
The lawyer said that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just here to get them.
Was he an Estonian lawyer?
No, he was an Indian.
Was your lawyer Indian?
Yeah, they're all Indians, but our lawyers briefed up. Theirs is from the government. So you'd thought the Estonian government would have known better to have briefed their lawyer up. But they didn't. So you've put doubt into the judge's mind. If you're saying one thing, you're saying another thing, and you're saying another. We need to get to the bottom of this, right? We're going to conduct a trial. Where's this trial going to happen? Back where it began, in the lion's den. And you ask any Indian, India or UK, the smaller courts are run by the police. We weren't there because it was too far a distance, but apparently the police, when they found out it's going to trial, were more or less doing cartwheels, licking their lips, everything. They were so smug because they knew they had one back in the lion's den. So we conducted the trial. I think it started September 2015, sorry. Our lawyers were briefed up big time. I wasn't involved in the briefing up. There was other guys who basically put it all together. And I thank them guys who provided all the information to the lawyers. One guy, and I will mention his name, and I hope he allows us and says, yeah, I did do it, but Mr. Ray Tyndall jacked up everything. He done the running around. He got the documents to make sure we were squeaky clean to give to the lawyer for the trial. Paperwork, boom, there you go. And he did it again to get us back home. So I thank him for that, because without his hard work, our lawyers wouldn't have known where to begin. They were clueless. They hadn't a clue. We had to do their job. They just turned up in court and gone, yeah, boom. So I like to say thanks again to Ray Tyndall. Obviously, I'll mention Paul Towers as well, Billy Irvin and the other guys. Everyone played their part on making sure the lawyers were jacked up on what to do. So we're doing this trial, and I didn't go to all the court hearings. I chose not to, because after hearing what the collector of the evidence was getting, when he was getting grilled by our lawyer, when it was translated on what he said, basically perjury doesn't exist in India, because you've just cross-examined them, and it doesn't matter what he says, because they just take his original statement. And he said, and obviously I won't quote, but if I had seen the paperwork for the weapons, I wouldn't have put the charges on the men. So basically, he put weapons charges on us without seeing the ballistics report. How can you put charges on someone for weapons when you have not had a ballistics report saying these weapons are illegal? And that was enough for me. Obviously, I did turn up in court when it was required. Everyone had to be there. But I said to the lawyer, I'm not coming. I can't do this. I feel violent and sick. I'm not travelling nearly 14 hours every day. I'm not going to live in Tuticorin because it's a shithole. I was happy up in Chennai, as best as I could be. It's a bit of a more civilised city, so to speak. And then the trial conducted from September. We had a break around Christmas time. I went and celebrated New Year in Bangalore, which was not a bad city, more of a milder climate than Chennai. Chennai is just like a sweatbox. And obviously you can imagine the media frenzy back home. Obviously I was getting phone calls by the media, has it started yet? Because we were told a 9 o'clock start in India time.
Was this the final trial?
So this is the decision date on the 11th of January 2016. We smashed it. They didn't even have a leg to stand on, the police. Absolutely didn't have a leg to stand on. didn't matter anyways, because it was made to look good. Because the judge just turned everything on its head. It didn't matter. You could have just gone there and just done nothing. Because what the hard work that the guys did to provide everything for the lawyer counted for nothing. Because the judge just went 5 years.
It's just a guy that went straight for his own decision because that was predetermined, I suppose.
Yeah. So you know the judge has had his ear by the police. Convict them. I remember we're all at the back of the courtroom and we're waiting for the decision. Obviously it's in Tamil. And then our lawyer would come and translate what was said. I can't remember who I was stood next to. I think it was one of the Estonian guys now. And I just saw people moving in the corner of my eye, and I looked, and outside, rows of police down one and the other of the courtroom. And I was like, this doesn't look good. Why is there loads of police turned up? And then the judge's assistant got up and said something, and we're like, what's he said? I remember this to this day. Our lawyer walked over. And you could see it in his face. He didn't want to do that because he didn't know how we're going to react. And he went, and we're like, what's he said? What's he said? And he went, guys, you've been sentenced to 5 years. And our embassy's there, the Estonian embassy's there, and they're like straight on the phones to Delhi and all that, and we're just, someone you just think you'd been hit by a train. You've been to prison once, you've got bail, you've won your case, then it goes tits up, a trial gets conducted. They should have just put one in prison instead of doing a trial. Should have just gone, get prison. It was pointless, it was a waste of time. But you don't believe that at the time. You believe, we're going to do this. And it was just made out to look good. It didn't matter. The sentence was 5 years. So, if you remember, I had to make the phone call to my mum. I've now got to do it again. And I tell you what, I will stand up in front of any person and say, what I did there, having to ring my mum again and say, Mum, I'm getting sentenced to 5 years. And here, I'm screaming down that phone, screaming. And that haunts me to this day. What I heard on that phone, she was absolute screaming. And I was shaking because I just wanted to just annihilate every single Indian in that courtroom. I felt the rage. I felt angry. And I wasn't the only one. And to then have to do it to me dad. My dad is not quite, he holds it. The only time I've seen my dad lose his emotions is when I went and told him I'm going to Afghanistan, and that was after the Welsh guys got smashed. Unfortunately, quite a few of them lost their lives there, and my dad quite got upset that day.
When you still serve?
Yeah. To ring my dad and tell him I've been sentenced to 5 years, he was like, well, you can imagine. I'm not going to repeat the words he said on the phone, but it was quite, I was quite kind of shocked for what was coming over the phone. But he wasn't emotional. He was quite calm when he was saying it. God forbid what he looked like when he hung up on me. But I've just had to tell my family I'm getting sentenced to 5. So everyone in the UK who was supporting the Chennai 6 and my own support, obviously I don't know what's going on, but I think it was the day David Bowie died, we got sentenced to 5 years. I do remember clicking on my Facebook and thinking, oh God, David Powers dead. And I thought, well, that's funny because my Facebook's just going to be about me getting sentenced to 5 years. And it was. I remember looking at my Facebook 2 years down the line and seeing everything, all the stuff that my sister doing and the other girls on raising awareness, fighting for justice. My sister made me a promise, and she did it on TV, and she said, I will, as long as there's a breath in my body, I will not stop fighting till my brother's home. And I tell you what, if my sister was a bloke, she'd be a paratrooper. She would. She's small and mighty. She's about this high, but her drive, determination, her fight, the willness not to give up, she can put any man to shame. I tell you what my sister's gone through, my mum, her job, me, any person would have just crumbled. How my sister hasn't, I have no idea. She's made of tough stuff. You know, all the fundraising, you know, it was just phenomenal. I'm not really noticing, but when we're in prison, you know, you start and get the odd family, you know, letter in time. It was a month before I finally got a letter, so I was kind of, when I saw other guys getting letters, I was getting really upset, and I broke down in prison. Because initially when we got back to Chennai Prison 1, all 23 were chucked and thrown into one big cell, so one toilet between me. And later we all got broken up because that's too many people to be in one cell. You know, tensions run high, as you can imagine, and just people have different standards of living, really. You know, some people are not as cleanliness as others, but never mind. So I remember, like, the first month of my 5-year sentence, I finally got a letter, so I kind of got upset when I saw other guys getting letters. I thought something could happen back home with my mum. Maybe something really bad had happened and stuff getting, you know, sorted back in the UK. But you can imagine, like, the whole Nick's gonna get free. They're gonna win. The Chennai 6 are coming home to then boom. Before half the UK were even out of their beds, we were sentenced to 5 years. So when they get up, go on Facebook, we're hoping to see good news, I'm coming home, see nothing. But sadness, people have told me. No. And then it was down to the girls, my sister and two of the other families, girlfriend and sister, to rally and to fight for justice, to drive, to get the government to push on the Indian government, because justice hasn't been served.
Nick, just 2 seconds. But because we just fast from that time, mate. I don't want to.
I know it's fine.
You right for another 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need to shoot off?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, mate, I hate this. Mate, like, normally you're going to cut the but
it's
crazy. I mean,
it's a crazy mental, isn't it? It's absolutely fucking mental.
I remember, mate. I remember when you got sentenced, because I remember when you got sentenced at 5 years. It was hideous. Like, it was hideous. And you keep mentioning on Facebook. It was massive on Facebook. Your sister, Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
Yeah, she was all over it, like completely. I don't know the woman. I agree with what you're saying. She was face of it. But just, I want to skip, because I don't want to gloss over anything. 2017, right? You went back to Triumph after all those massive efforts, getting the governments to talk to each other, getting our government to pull their fingers out, getting the Indian government to flip in, square themselves away.
Yeah.
When did the last trial happen?
Well, too far. We went through the case again to get our freedom, to appeal against our 5-year judgment. Starts at the bottom court. We get palmed off. We take it higher. Went to the Madras High Court or Madras High Court, and it's going on. And it was November 2016. That was it. Decision.
What, for whether you could appeal or not?
Yeah. Decision. What's going on? You know what I mean? Christmas again. You're waiting on it, you know, but you don't give up. I know heads were dropping. Mine was. You just got to remain strong. Remember, people are supporting you back in the UK. I was having letters from Canada, Australia, France, America, people supporting me. And the guy that's from Australia, he's over in the UK, and I'm going to be meeting up with him, so can't wait for that.
I remember parcels.
Parcels getting sent.
Yeah, who's the lad who does
Christmas
the
cards?
guy?
Colin
Eastaway, yeah.
Flying past out, I remember that.
Yeah. He was out in Iraq, working out in Iraq.
Yeah. You know, there was a guy. I've just been to his wedding in Paphos, Gary Hull. I served with him in one para. He's got a scaffolding company, and he had posters of us on his scaffolding. And I'd like to say thank you to Gary Hull for his support and his guys. I'd like to say thank you to everyone and that support. It was absolutely tremendous. Obviously, I didn't know what was really going on, trying to get letters from my sister and her to deal with her life, my mum, me. I'm the focal point. My mum's a focal point, so you can imagine she's going through a lot of stress. But you're fighting for justice, and it comes to the point where you're waiting on a decision, and the months go by, Christmas goes by, and you're thinking, what's going on? The prison's asking us, why are you still in prison? Why have you not got a decision?
You went back to prison January 2016.
Yeah. But we're appealing. The appeal finished November 2016, and it should have been a minimum of 3 months or a maximum of 3 months for a decision. It was nearly 1 year.
A year after you put the appeal in, they give you a decision whether you go back to court.
For freedom.
Ah.
So we're appealing the 5 years.
Yeah. So
it finished in November. The appeal, it was a couple of months appeal after so many ups and downs. Judges not turning up, prosecutors not turning up, you name it. They did everything to try and delay it even more. But it should have taken them about 3 months. It took nearly 1 year to us to get a decision. And we're getting the government, come on, what's going on? Foreign Minister Swire came to visit us. Last year, Foreign Minister Mark Field came to visit us. Foreign Minister of the United Kingdom visiting prisoners in prison. That doesn't happen. You don't even see a Deputy High Commissioner. We saw him numerous of times. We saw the High Commissioner numerous of times. But the government can't say they're innocent. But does that not tell you we're innocent? Or them come and visit you? It does to me. But, we're saying, look, we need to take this to the Chief Justice, who is like the head judge of each state. And then there's a Chief Justice of India. So, the Deputy Commissioner put paperwork into her because I had tea and biscuits and went, do it for the legal channels. Foreign Minister came to visit us. We brought her up saying, what's going on? Any news? Yeah, I'll get on that. And then the captain, he was having some medical issues. So he was trying to get released to go for medical treatment, so his family could come over because he was on his last legs. Little did he know at the time he responded to his treatment, but he didn't know that at the time. So his case, so we're waiting on a decision at the High Court. His case was in the Supreme Court, and I tell you what, it was mad because India's Chief Justice heard his case, and he apparently, said, "Why are you still in the country?" And apparently the lawyers were like, "Well, we'll start waiting on a decision." And you know what that man did? He went, "Right, I want a decision in the High Court within 2 weeks. We got a court date within a week." So that week leading up to Judgment Day, as we call it, again, this is where it either A, goes to Supreme Court. So if they just muck it off and disregard what Supreme Court's just said, Supreme Court will release it anyways. But you've got to think your mindset. What if it doesn't go? I knew once that has happened, that was it. I was focused. That's it. I'm going home. I will be home for Christmas. I will be home for Christmas. I knew. A lot of the guys thought I was too overconfident. My bubble will pop. Guess what? My bubble grew bigger and bigger because I became positive. I sucked the energy from everyone's amazing support and fought through. I never gave in. We got the decision. I was training in our makeshift gym. We made a little gym, and one of the guys told us on the 27th of November 2017, and I could hear it in his voice. It was giddy. He wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. That kind of, and he went, "Case acquitted," because we were thinking we're going to get guilty time served. Guilty, why we shouldn't, but we had it in my mind we're going to get a guilty time served to have a full acquittal. That's basically saying wrongful imprisoned. You've been full acquittal. And I was training because I thought, you can imagine people are getting stressed, running around like headless chickens. I was pretty stressed. Couldn't sleep the night before. I couldn't wait for that prison door to open so I could get out. But, just had to deal with it. And he says, that's it. Case acquittal. And you're like that. Cheering on. It was a big moment for us. God knows what it was like. I've seen the video of my family all together waiting. The media there. And you can watch it on Google. You can see the response to the decision of us getting full acquittal by my family. And that's powerful. Big moment. What we didn't know was that we got released the next day. The prison, it was even a shock to them because it normally would take a couple of days, nearly a week. Basically, it was a Supreme Court order said get them out because the court's not stupid. They're not going to hear your case straight away, are they? Because we could have been out that day. We were the last case, so it was about late evening, early evening, when they heard our case. So it was too late to jack anything up to get us released. So you can imagine, no one slept. I didn't sleep that night. But the next morning, I was back into the gym. I had to tire myself out. And I remember walking around, and one of the guys, he was called down to the jailer's office. But he went and saw the superintendent. And he was told, tell your guys that your embassies are coming at 11 o'clock. So I'm walking around when I was training, and he came back, he went, and it was again, grab your shit, embassy's coming at 11 o'clock. And I tell you what, I started shaking. My knees just nearly gave way because you've got a decision, you're buzzing from that, and you're thinking, well, we'll wait a couple of days, then get released. For the next day to get released, it was manic, absolute manic. Once we were told your embassies are coming, that was it. I didn't even know what to do. I was just, my head was up my arse. I was all over it. Like, blokes are scratching what stuff, their life.
Yeah.
I left that prison with a couple of bags that were in a little suitcase. My life. You know, we got released. A couple of days, paperwork, and it was finally it. The last time I boarded a plane was September 2013. And I'm boarding a plane December 2017. I boarded on the 6th, and I was knackered. Absolutely. And the thing, you've been to Dubai, it's a massive airport, and it's got free Wi-Fi. It's like, we're not going to tell Nick what's happening, because the Wi-Fi didn't work. I could not, for love nor money, get any signal. Couldn't communicate. When I finally got round to looking at my Facebook messages, people were wanting to upgrade me to first class. I couldn't respond to give them my flight details because for love nor money, I don't know why my phone couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. I was going everywhere in that bloody place to get a Wi-Fi signal, and I couldn't. I OD'd on caffeine, literally, because I didn't want to fall asleep and miss my flight.
Yeah.
I did a 4-hour flight from Chennai to Dubai. I had to wait 6 hours to do a 7-hour flight from Dubai to Newcastle. And when I finally got on that plane, I was informed I would have my own Emirates trolley dolly. She was keeping things low key, so I thank Emirates for that. I noticed people must have recognised me on that plane, because I saw a few people looking at us, but they knew what it was signifying. They knew it was me to come home, so I was left alone, and I was watching a few movies to pass the 7 hours, and I was absolutely licked, shagged out my head. I was like that. But for years, I dreamt of this moment, and every scenario was nothing like what it was for the day I came back. But what was the same was when you get close to your destination and the captain says, right, buckle up, we're coming into land, such and such airport. When he said you're coming to Newcastle airport, I've gone from licked out me arsehole to fresh as a daisy like that. Someone had just regenerated me, and I was like that. I was on top of that world. I was coming home, and to have that feeling was special. That was an amazing feeling. I went through feeling like that. And the last says, do you want to just hang fat? Because I know my sister did say, because she came out to India to see us for a few days before going back home. She says, we do know you're going to have a few friends, family, 1 or 2 media. When they turned up at that airport, and you can see what online me coming home, it even shocked and stunned my sister at the amount of people and media that was there for me. She just thought the few local media and that was about it was going to come, because they had asked for it as well. You know, there was Sky News there and everyone. It was tremendous. So I waited. I got off the bus. I got off the airplane to get on a bus with everyone else. I was like that. Couldn't have worked out even better as a plan. I thought I was going to walk off the plane into the terminal and that'll be it. I got off the plane onto the bus with everyone else. I thought, for God's sakes, man, here we go. But I tell you what, and I thank Newcastle Airport for how they handled it. It was absolutely fantastic. But as I'm walking down the stairs, they were clapping, saying welcome home. And touched me. So I thank everyone.
Oh, what, the staff?
The staff at Newcastle Airport.
Amazing.
I thank every single person who was involved on that day. But they clapped and said, "Welcome home, Nick." I got on the bus, done that, got into the terminal. We're in immigration, and the girl from the airport collected me. And call it a coincidence, I don't know. But I think the baggage handler jumped on that plane and looked for my bag because it was waiting for me. My bag was waiting for me when I got in. I picked it up and I went, and she went, "Right, follow me." And I bypassed everyone else. And I came to the international arrivals, and I froze. I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk through them doors. I've dreamt of this moment all of my life. Yeah, I was stuck. I couldn't. And a guy passed us and he opened the doors and everyone was there. My family. And it paralysed us. I was like that. Whoa. And I remember my dad saying, he's there. And my sister looked at us and it was 2 magnets. Boom. And you can see, honestly, it was handled great. It was silent, so eerie. It was amazing after 4 years of having my life ruined, I wanted nothing more than the world to see my mum again. And I saw her, and it was the best thing ever. It was like winning the lottery. I was on cloud 9 that day. And obviously I did the media, as you do, saying hello to my friends and all that, and family. And I've just been on a motorcycle ride with my sister on Sunday, just gone, with the 4X crew, and they came to the airport and they gave us an escort back. So basically they were cutting up every car to make sure my car made a direct route from that airport to my home. And it was just amazing. From being in India, if anyone's been in India, they'll know the streets are manic. But to be on the UK soil, on the UK road, it's like there was no car on the road and it was so quiet. Well, we got back home and opened a bottle of champagne and my hair's all over the shop. A lot of people, when they saw us, were wanting us to keep my hair. I was like, no, definitely not.
I've seen this proper.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, top knots are in fashion now." I said, I'd rather skinhead me head than get a top knot, but it was just fantastic.
We've got to we were well out of time.
Yeah, sorry about that. But
we appreciate it. Mate, get a couple of minutes, right? Tell me what's your plans, and what else? Anyone you want to give a shout out, thanks to, anyone you want to plug, do it now. You got a couple of minutes to do it now, mate.
Well, firstly, I'll say my thank yous. I'd like to say thank you for everyone's tremendous, amazing support for me and my family. That was fantastic. All the bicycle clubs, Badlanders, 4X, your support for the fundraising was tremendous. People of Ashington, Northumberland, a lot of people diss that town, but that town's in my heart. The support you gave me was tremendous. It's my home. I don't care what people think of the town. It's my home. Obviously, the British government, I would like to say thanks for your support for the welfare. By the way, you did let me down in 2014, but that's by the by. Like say, obviously, the people who sent me parcels, tremendous, thanks, great. And most importantly, thank you, my sister, for never giving up and drive and fighting for my freedom. You got me home. My legal team got me home. If it wasn't for people donating, to pay for our legal fees, I'd still be in that prison today. So thank you, every single person who donated. You paid for my freedom. So thank you for that. Future, obviously, trying to cram 4 years is quite hard speaking. It's quite. Hopefully, I would like to, get it down in paper format so people can read. We'll see.
What can I absolutely, mate. Well, whatever you need, just let us know. I mean, people watching this will be, I'm sure everyone, as they already are, wanting to help out, mate.
Yeah, people are wanting to hear the full story, and I'm willing to tell them that. I've gone through a mental health trauma, and I know a lot of people are suffering mental health, whether you're ex-forces or a civilian. I would like to try and get involved into doing some mental health work or giving, say, a talk or whatnot. I do believe I did go through a mental health trauma. Having to be told your mum's nearly died 5 days before Christmas, being an innocent man locked in a foreign prison. That's trauma in its own right. To come out a little bit cagey, I'll admit. I'm, some days, I just want to just bubble, and some days I'm happy. But I've got to just think, what's my next 4 years going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Onwards and upwards. Think of the future. I only look back to see how far I've come and to refer to things. What's done is done. The past is dust. I'm not holding no grudges. Like I said earlier, if I did see Madame Q Branch or the owners of the company, I will strangle the life out of them. But I'm not going to dwell on the past. That's the one thing. I'm moving on with my life.
I'm sure, mate, with the good determination you got, you'll smash it. Nick Dunn, been an absolute.
Thank you so much.
It's been fascinating story.
It's been a pleasure.
It's good that you're back, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Photo.
Pass.
Mate, yeah. Pleasure, mate. That's honestly.